back now. In verdict 2014, one of the interesting aspects of it was the Aam Aadmi Party. Lots of media attention, but eventually ended up with just about 4 seats. Vote percentage also in single digits. Joining me now on what went wrong with the Aam Aadmi Party is Yogendra Yadav, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, and someone who shared this very chair with me exactly 5 years ago when he was wearing his hat as a cephalogist. So times have changed. Yogendra Yadav, appreciate your joining us now. What went wrong with the Aam Aadmi Party in this election? You drew a blank in Delhi, you drew a blank in Haryana, you lost your seat rather badly in Gurgaon, but you won 4 seats in Punjab. What went wrong first?
Rajdeep, can I begin by saying what went right? This is a debut election for a national party. Depends on what your expectations are. If someone expected Delhi to be replayed all over the country, then of course it didn't happen. But was that a realistic expectation? In the last 3 decades, this country has seen only 2 national debuts of parties which then stayed. One was BJP in 1984, the other was BSP in 1989. All other parties are older parties at the national level. And BJP got 2 seats in 1984, BSP got 3 seats in 1989. Both of them got vote share certainly in single digit. In this country, single digit is large.
Yes.
So if you peg your expectations somewhat realistic, then what went wrong? Yes, of course, Delhi went wrong. Drawing a 0 in Delhi hurts, it's disappointing. Banaras, we were disappointed. Haryana, we had expected a breakthrough, that did not happen. These are 3 things that did not happen. On the other side, we got a breakthrough in Punjab, so the party has now 2 states where it is politically relevant. To have that in the very first general election is not bad. We have more than 1 crore vote, don't call it just in single digit, 1 crore, 1.13 crore people voted for us. For everyone who voted, there were many who thought about voting for us, but then said maybe next time, maybe they're too young, maybe they're inexperienced. We had more than 1 lakh volunteers who left everything, devoted full time to this election campaign. That's a true contribution to India's public life. And we raised issues which wouldn't have been raised but for us. So I take heart from it, I take some delight from it, and I think it's a long road, Rajdeep. Creating alternative politics, if anyone had thought it was going to happen overnight, I'm sorry we disappointed them, but that was never going to happen.
But let me flip that around. You contested what, 400 odd seats? And I think 99% of your candidates outside of Delhi and Punjab lost their deposits. Now, I want to know, would you have been better placed to actually have focused on 2 or 3 states? You could have focused on Delhi, you could have focused on Punjab, you could have focused on Haryana and built from there. You use the Mayawati example or the BSP example. They built from being focused on Uttar Pradesh essentially and North India and then tried to spread. And even their spread didn't work, they remained a UP party. Do you believe the Aam Aadmi Party made a strategic mistake in overnight believing you had this national ambition that you'll win 30-40 seats across India?
Rajdeep, if we were discussing this 3 days ago, there may have been something to the argument that you're making. But now that we know the verdict, do you believe that the verdict would have been any different if we had deployed all our volunteers from all over the country into Delhi? Do you think the one thing that might have been different if we had contested only 30 or 40 seats, I can tell you we may not have even contested Faridkot and Fatehgarh Sahib, the 2 seats that we have won from Punjab, because they were nowhere on the radar. It's precisely by spreading ourselves, what you call spreading ourselves thin, is that we brought these things within the net. And the other thing, Rajdeep, is that in fact somehow getting 2 or 3 additional seats was not our target. It was important for us to be known, for our name and symbol to be recognized throughout the country. It was important for us to try and get leaders of social movements from all over the country into our party. It was important for us to connect to our volunteers in Kerala and Tamil Nadu who would have otherwise not connected to us. So I really think Aam Aadmi Party has created a force of virtue in this country. Yes, we are small in terms of numbers in parliament, but Rajdeep, I can tell you, our ambition is to be the principal force of opposition in the 5 years to come, no matter what our numbers in parliament.
Let me flip that for a moment, Yogendra, because the other issue which comes at the moment is leadership. your leader Arvind Kejriwal decides that he's going to take on Narendra Modi in Varanasi. Suddenly all the volunteers of AAP are asked to come to Varanasi. It becomes about Arvind Kejriwal. It becomes about, some would say, about Arvind Kejriwal's ego. I'm going to take on Narendra Modi. I'm going to try and sort of defeat Narendra Modi in Varanasi. So the party again becomes subservient to the individual. And that is, in that way you're no different to many of our other political parties. Is that a concern? If you're a people's party, how can a people's party become subservient to one individual and his ambitions?
Rajdeep, in most political parties, what happens is that you pit your leader in the safe constituency, you protect your Rahul Gandhis, you protect your leaders, you don't put them in any risky situation. So I actually felt that Arvind's decision, as you know, he could have easily chosen one of the safer constituencies of Delhi, and if he had chosen, we would have won at least that one seat in Delhi. But the one thing about Arvind is that he takes risk. He actually contested there, and I can tell you, whatever the final outcome, the fact that he contested there gave me and my workers courage in Gurgaon. It gave lots of our workers courage in different parts of the country. Yes, a lot of workers went to
Varanasi.
Banaras, and I was to Varanasi, and I was there for 6 days. But every one of them had done duty in their respective constituency, and then came there. My colleagues from Gurgaon, my colleagues from Rewari, my colleagues from other parts also went there. But they did after having done their duty. So rather than sit back at home having finished their elections, they went to Varanasi. So what damage does it do?
Yogendra Yadav, I love your calm demeanor even in the face of what many would say has been a tough day. I know even in your own constituency, you got only 70,000 votes or less than a lakh. Is it difficult to win? Does it show if a Medha Patkar, someone who has spent most of her life in fighting for social causes, loses a deposit? Yogendra Yadav, who people acknowledge you as a political scientist, as someone who has worked in people's movements. If you lose your deposit, what does that show about electoral politics in this country? That maybe the Aam Aadmi Party is, has right ideas, you want to change the country in a positive way, you want to change public life, but out there, the people are still practicing traditional electoral politics based on caste, based on money power, based on community, and based on possibly in this election, individual magnetism and money power.
Rajdeep, Medha's defeat really hurt me because more than any one of us, she deserved to win, and we deserved someone like her in the parliament. As for myself, I wouldn't sort of rush to find fault with the electorate. Maybe I didn't deserve, Rajdeep. Being a political scientist doesn't make you deserve to be in the parliament. Honestly, to be absolutely true, I realized that the constituency where I had worked, where I'm born, but I actually didn't know it very well. I came to know it only through the campaign. So maybe I didn't deserve to win. And finally, Rajdeep,
yes,
what are we in for? We are here for alternative politics, and that's a very long road. I still remember what Kashi Ramji said. He was a great theorist of Indian politics. He said, "Pehla chunav harne ko, dusra harane ko, tisra jeetne ko," which is to say, it is a long road, and you have to go through all difficulties. You have to go through tough times, and that's the only way you can transform politics.
But can you last that long road? Can you last that long road? Because people get impatient, workers get impatient, volunteers get impatient, that if it is defeat after defeat, then the volunteers may lose that sense of excitement that you have a Delhi Assembly election, for example, in a few months from now. Will they be as charged up as they were 9 months ago or 6 months ago?
That's our test, Rajdeep, and that is precisely why probably history tests you. Those who hold nerves, those who can stand the test of time, only they survive. And if we are being put to that test, we can't complain. That's how history tests anyone who wants to change the world. And those who want an easy way out do not end up changing history. So indeed it's a test. But I have met these volunteers. I have met Aam Aadmi Party volunteers. They have left they have left jobs, they have left homes, they have left careers. And with this desire to change this country, I'm sure they would last longer than anyone else. And yes, some of us would also need to be with everyone, work together. But that is how idealism is always tested in the world. Yes, we are being tested. but that's how it should be.
Can I hold on? Because I want to get my panel. Is this idealism or romanticism? Is Yogendra Yadav, Manini, you were clucking when you were hearing him. Do you believe that there is too much of romanticism and the Aam Aadmi Party somewhere has lost its way?
No, in fact, it's not so much romanticism. Romanticism and idealism are both great things. What I've always had a problem, as you know, I've had these discussions with Aam Aadmi, is that they are so contemptuous of every other political party, and they think that they are the only, they are made of pure. You know,
they are the only pure
party. Or dedicated people. You know, with all my, I mean, whether it is BJP, whether you are pro-BJP or anti-BJP, pro-left, even Congress party, which has the least number, there are a whole lot of very dedicated people who join parties. Not everybody joins parties to just make money and get power.
So you're saying Aam Aadmi Party is not the only party which has dedicated workers who are committed.
And what he says is right. It's the test of time, because it's very easy to come, and a lot of their supporters, the stamina, what is really required in any profession, and most of all in politics, is patience and stamina. If they have it, then they will...
Kumar Ketkar, are you skeptical of the Aam Aadmi Party? Do you believe that they have tried to do too much too soon and thereby, in a sense, lost their way?
Well, actually, ever since Jayaprakash Narayan movement, I have been skeptical of the idea that we will transform the world just by being honest and by being full of character and, kind of commitments. But that does not mean that I oppose idealism or I oppose romanticism. Romanticism and idealism are required, but the point that Malini made is correct. With romantic and idealist ideas, many people join politics. Maybe later on they become corrupt, but many people have joined BJP, many people have joined communist movement, socialist movement, Congress also, with the idea that some good thing should happen. So AAP is in the initial teething trouble stage, but many people in Congress in the 1969 after the Congress split joined because they thought Mrs. Gandhi was romantic and idealist at the same time. Therefore, they thought that by joining Indira Congress will actually help them transform the Congress party. So they wanted to transform the Congress party and they joined.
No, Sudhir, it's interesting that the one state where the Aam Aadmi Party has done well is Punjab, where there is a growing anger against corruption of the Badals and of the earlier Congress regime. So they found a space in Punjab when we thought that their real space was here in Delhi. How do you see the Aam Aadmi Party at the moment? Do you believe it's a party with the future? Can you run an entire and sustain an entire political party only on this plank that we will take on corruption? Is it as simple as that? A party on this one single issue becoming a national party?
I admire the Aam Aadmi Party for, taking the risk of fighting the election, and since it was the outcome of a major anti-corruption movement, led by Anna Hazare, it got benefited and they performed spectacularly in Delhi.
Yes.
They should have shown that they are capable of governing. In their impatience, they just gave up their responsibility and aspired to be a national party. That is where they have stumbled.
So he should Arvind Kejriwal should have never resigned in 49 days. He should have stayed the course and proved himself. That was his biggest problem, the impatience that they showed.
People expected him to be a good chief minister and deliver. No, but I am saying, in spite of that, in spite of that, the fact that what Yogendra ji said,
yes,
that tens of thousands of young volunteers, idealistic volunteers, coming into public life, campaigning for a party, for certain ideals, this is a welcome development in Indian politics.
So you welcome the voluntarism which has been encouraged by the Aam Aadmi Party. Yeah. You are sending out a warning that you cannot be impatient.
They should not be impatient, and they should also give up this holier than thou. Yeah, when all are corrupt and we alone are clean, and we are going to be clean all the time. But I want to make, with all my admiration, all my admiration for Yogendra ji, I want to make one point here.
Yes.
He likened Aam Aadmi Party to the BJP in 1984 and BSP, that both of them debuted. Now, factually, Bharatiya Janata Party is
an offshoot of the Jan Sangh.
Bharatiya Jan Sangh, since 1952, it was part of the government, Janata Party government. It was part of the Janata Party and hence part of the Janata Party government. Long history. And therefore, it was not really making a debut in 1984.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, a quick point you want to make sure. Quick.
Well, Aam Aadmi Party was born out of this movement, which was very committed and sincere, and I don't doubt their intentions. It was they were misdirected, and they fell into the trap laid by the Congress and the BJP to condemn them, which is why they resigned. If they had not resigned, I am sure that this verdict would have been different. They lost a lot of credibility.
Is that the point? Is that basically the point, that they were a party in a hurry? Arvind Kejriwal needs to change the way he does his politics.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, Arvind Kejriwal, you can have your differences with him or whatever, with a campaign which went on for roughly 2 to 3 months in Banaras, managed to poll 2.5 lakh votes. Now, for someone who's not from the city, for someone who has no root whatsoever from the city, to go there and poll those votes, and at the same time for the leader of opposition in the Raj Sabha to have gone to Amritsar and lost by a margin of 1 lakh votes, I think is, I'm not trying to compare apples and oranges here, but is also a reflection of what can happen in our politics. The only thing that seems to have gone wrong for the Aam Aadmi Party is that Arvind Kejriwal, for whatever reason, chose to step down as Delhi Chief Minister. If he'd gone there as Delhi Chief Minister...
Before I leave you, Yogen, there are two criticisms that are coming. One, Arvind Kejriwal should have never stepped down as Delhi Chief Minister. And number two, what Sudhindra and others are saying, and Manini is saying, this holier than thou attitude, that we are the only party in this country which is clean, everyone else is corrupt. We are the only party in this country which encourages voluntarism. Other parties do not have karyakartas who are truly committed. Somewhere the Aam Aadmi Party needs to realize that maybe others also are fighting politics on some kind of principle. You can disagree with them, but they also have their principle. Does the Aam Aadmi Party need to do some course correction?
I would agree with both the points made there, with some minor differences. One is that I do not deny that communist parties, socialist parties, even Congress and RSS used to have people who were very, very idealist. I'm not sure when was the last person who joined Congress for sheer idealism happened. I thought it must have been a few decades ago. It used to happen with left as well, but even with left it stopped. It stopped for BJP as well. So I'm not claiming we are the first party in India's history to have idealist volunteers. All I'm saying is today we happen to represent the force of idealism. And yes, idealists sometimes tend to be righteous. They need to be corrected for that. I take that criticism. And second, about Arvind Kejriwal leaving, look, it was our first experience of governance. We must have made many mistakes, some that we have admitted. We have already said, Arvind has already said, that the decision about quitting was not done with as much consultation as we had done the first one. We should have gone back to people. Right. And if people said, no, stay back for a few more weeks, months, we should have obeyed them. We've already said that, but maybe we made even many more mistakes that we've not yet had time to introspect.
Right.
We need to learn. We are novices. We need to learn from experience. But one thing we have not done, Rajdeep, we have not compromised with our honesty. That might hurt my co-panelists, but that's the one point that we have maintained in our public life. That's one thing we do not compromise. In our samajdari we can go wrong. In our imandari we will not compromise.
We will see. We will test you on that. That's a big statement to make, that we will not compromise on imandari. Yes.
One correction only. After Rajiv Gandhi joined Congress and became Prime Minister, there were hundreds of non-political class people, completely non-political, IIT graduates, IIM graduates, young slum people, social activists, almost NGO types, joined politics of Congress under Rajiv Gandhi, though Rajiv Gandhi may not have given them direction, but they thought Congress ideals represented by Rajiv were important.
We agree.
Yogendra, but that was only 30 years ago. 30 years ago, those who were 18 to 25 at that time are just 55 to 60 today. And they joined out of idealism, not Rajiv Gandhi idealism, but they thought Rajiv Gandhi a hope. And second time was AAP. And I completely respect AAP for bringing cynical middle class, completely cynical middle class, anti-political class, joining politics, and politics for doing something good.
But the question is whether,
minus the self-righteousness, I accept and appreciate idealism and romanticism.
But they are the only party which came out of completely apolitical people. They are not politicians. That's the difference.
And therefore they have perhaps paid a price in this election, that somewhere they are going to have to realize that in elections you are going to have to frame political strategies for electoral politics.
Just quick point, the photograph in the background of Mr. Yadav, Bhagat Singh. The problem is, Rajdeep, in today's society, if you want youngsters to be looking at Bhagat Singh as a role model, great contribution, yes, but I think the Aam Aadmi Party really needs to do some more searching.
Okay, we're going to take a break at that